Hi there, back again to share another gluten-free recipe with you. Today I'm going to share a recipe for some gluten-free Scotch eggs. The recipe has been totally inspired by a recent request from my nephew who was after something of a high protein snack that him and his pals could enjoy. So thank you so much, Rory. You totally inspired me to go ahead and make these Scotch eggs. Okay, so firstly I'm going to boil 4 large eggs. I'm going to bring the pan to the boil, and then once it's boiling I'll set the timer for 4 minutes just so there'll be a soft boiled egg. Okay, and whilst the eggs are boiling, I've got a few bits and bobs ready. So I've got some seasoned plain gluten-free flour in there. So I've just seasoned it with some salt and pepper. And the flour I've used is just the Asda, but any gluten-free plain or all-purpose flour will be absolutely fine. And then I've just beaten an egg in there because this is just to coat the Scotch eggs afterwards. And then I'm going to do some breadcrumbs. The bread I'm using today is the Promise gluten-free bread. It's one of my favourite gluten-free breads. It's so nice. I'll just show you how lovely it is. So I've gone for a seeded one because I thought it would give the eggs that little bit more texture as well. So I'm just going to, and I've got a mini chopper, so I'm just going to break the bread up and then just make these into breadcrumbs. So I'm going to pulse it just so it stops the bread from clumping. There we go, and they're nice and soft now. You could use shop bought gluten-free breadcrumbs, but I like the idea of doing my own fresh, so I just chuck the breadcrumbs everywhere. There we go. So that was just 2 large slices of gluten-free bread. So the eggs have just come up to the boil now. I've used large eggs and I set the timer for 4 minutes. As soon as that goes off, I'll drain the water off and then I'll fill the pan with cold water just to stop the eggs from cooking anymore. There we go. So I had the eggs in the cold water for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I changed the water halfway through just because it felt like it was getting a little bit warm and I wanted to chill the eggs as quick as possible. So now I'm just going to peel them. And the way I peel eggs, I was shown this years ago. These might be a bit delicate because I've done them soft boiled because I want them to be a bit jammy inside. But if I roll the egg, so I was shown this years ago, just to peel it. Probably not do it very well now when I'm trying to show you, but yeah. Okay, I thought they'd be really delicate actually, the eggs. They're not too bad at all. I've just got a little bowl ready, just pop them in some paper just to catch any bits of maybe dampness from the egg. If you're not bothered about the egg being quite hard boiled inside, then you can do it for longer. But I was just hoping that I can do it with the yolk still staying that little bit jammy. And the fresher the egg you use, the better. These, they're still absolutely fine and in date and everything. But ideally, I would have actually liked to use eggs that were even fresher. And the beauty about this, I'm doing this sort of within the one video, but you could break this down how you do things and get things prepped. So your eggs you could do the day before and then just put them in the fridge. That would be absolutely fine. Get off any little bits of shell. Nothing worse than having that crunch of shell. The eggs broke a little bit, but it'll be fine. We can patch it together once it gets its sausage blanket round it, sausage meat blanket round it. Okay. And now to prep the sausage meat. I don't know if I said at the beginning of the video, but this is actually the first time I've actually made Scotch eggs. My mum used to make them a lot when we were younger to go with salads and things. That was before I was gluten-free, but I've never made my own, and I do love Scotch eggs. It's ridiculous it's took me to this long to make them. And the sausage meat I'm using, it's from Marks and Spencer's, I like to use a sausage meat because I think it's just so much easier, but I know sometimes it can be hard to get hold of gluten-free sausage meat. So just use your favourite gluten-free sausages instead. I'm gauging this to say how much I'll need. I think I'll need this full packet. I'm planning on splitting this up. I will jot down the full quantities and things that I've used afterwards, but the weight of this is a 450 gram weight approximately. So if you sort of work that out when you're gauging that, if you're buying sausages, then that will be fine. But what's good is you could use like any flavour, like you can get some of the Italian sausages and things like that. So if you do use sausages, then gluten-free sausages, then you've got more flavour choice to play with. But this is just straightforward gluten-free sausage meat. And I'm just going to cut this now into 4. So I've just got some flour here that I've got in a dedicated bowl. I'm just going to pat these out. I might make a bit of a mess of this, but we'll see how we go. So when it gets to that, like that, I think that's going to do it. But as I say, it is my first time as well, so you're a bit of a guinea pig with me. I hope that's okay. Definitely use to flour it, and also as well by doing it here, I'm not going to have sausage meat stuck all over my worktop as well, so it's good to do it on grease proof. I've seen people doing it on cling film as well, but I don't have any cling film. Getting more of a circle as I'm getting my practice is getting better. So if I try the first one, if for any reason it's not big enough, I can always go a bit bigger then, can't I? Okay, and I did see, I mean there is flour already on the pastry, but I did see about rolling the egg in that little bit of flour as well. Okay, time to wrap it up. I went a bit big with those. Let me just go a bit smaller because it's going to be uneven, the actual sausage meat, if I go too big. Pinching that together like that. I'm not sure how even this is going to be inside, but hopefully we'll be all good to go. There we go, so like that. And then just repeat with these ones. I'll just go a bit smaller with these ones that I've done. Eggs just split a bit, so I'll be a bit more delicate if I can be with this one. Once the sausage meat's on it, it's not too bad. Just pinch it together. I can't remember if I rolled that one in flour. I don't know if I did, but I think there's enough flour on here to sort of do that. There we go. Okay. Thing is, don't worry about it being perfect. All you have to worry about is it being cooked properly and that it tastes delicious. That's what I focus on when things go a bit pear-shaped for how they look. Let's say the main thing is, as I say, they taste good. So say we're not having a deep fat fry, I'm doing these in the oven. I just thought it would be easier, and I'm thinking not everyone watching, you know, you may not have a deep fat fryer either, so I thought if I do it in the oven, that's accessible then for everybody. Okay, and now it's just time to flour, egg and breadcrumb them. A messy job, but it's fine. So the tray I'm putting it onto is a non-stick tray. There we go. I'm just going to make sure they're spaced out nice and evenly so that they've got plenty of room to let the heat circulate in the oven. These would be a lovely thing to serve up at Christmas, as well as, say, they're perfect for taking on walks and things like that as well. Just keep them nice and chilled if you're having them on the go. Okay. Oh, thank goodness for that. Just enough. Right, there we go. Okay, so that's them oven ready almost. The tray they're on, say, is non-stick, so that's great, and it's one of those really heavy sort of cast iron ones. I think it's cast iron anyway, but it's a Scoville brand, and it conducts the heat really well, so I'm thinking the Scotch eggs will cook really well underneath. So because I'm not deep frying the Scotch eggs, just to crisp them up that little bit, I've just sprayed on some of this spray oil. It is gluten free. Do just double check if you're using spray oil, because there are thickeners that are added to it, but this is gluten free, and I've gone for the rapeseed spray oil. You could, if you were really careful, just brush over a little bit of oil, but I just thought that would work the trick and leave them intact. So I'm just going to bake these now for about 20 to 25 minutes, and hopefully all will be well, and I will show you what they look like when they're done. Okay, so I've just taken them out of the oven now. I ended up baking them for about 27 minutes in the end, because I just wanted to ensure that the sausage meat, of course, is cooked completely through. And they're nice and golden brown on the bottom there. I'm just going to leave them just to cool for about 15 minutes or so, and then cut into one, and then we can both see what they look like. I ended up not being able to wait any longer, so I'm going to cut into one of these Scotch eggs now and see how it looks inside. I've only just left it for about 5 minutes, so let's see how we get on. Oh, well, they look fab. Not the jammy yolk that I was after, but I don't know how far I could have gone sort of having the eggs really soft boiled, you know, for me to be able to handle them. So I'm happy with those. They're great. I suppose as well, because they're in the oven longer to bake, so, you know, the yolk's going to cook longer as well at that point. But I'm thrilled with how they look. I'm going to enjoy one of these Scotch eggs now with some of this chilli jam. So it's Stokes chilli jam, which of course is gluten free, and it is absolutely delicious. And I think it will work really well with the Scotch eggs as well. There we go. So I'm really pleased with how those gluten-free Scotch eggs have turned out. As I mentioned before, it is the first time I've ever made them as well, but they were so straightforward to make. I do hope that the video sort of shows that. I didn't mention when I was doing the sausage meat, but you could also add extra things to the sausage meat. So you could add things like some fresh chopped herbs, or some chili flakes that would change the flavour. And also as well, I mentioned getting gluten-free sausages that have different flavours, and that's another way of changing the flavours of the Scotch eggs as well. So thanks so much for watching the video. If you have any questions, then do give me a shout. And thanks again, Rory, for the inspiration. Bye for now.